Good morning and welcome to another episode of Real Love. We have an amazing, incredible treat for you today. We have Mr. Luther and his beautiful wife, Sharon Floyd, to give us another wonderful example sample of how do we make love last. This is couples love language. Hello, how are you today, this morning?
All right,
All
wonderful.
right, bless.
Beautiful, blessed. Yeah, we woke
Bless.
up this morning.
I know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I guess the first thing that I just would love to know is how did you meet?
Well, we go all the way back to high school. We met in 1972, 71, somewhere around there. And she grew up around the corner from me, a block up. But her cousin was my best friend who grew up right across the alley from me on the next street. And we met in high school, and I fell in love with her then, but I was too shy to tell her back then. And most people that know me said, "Well, Luther, you was never shy." Yeah, I was shy back then, you know. I mean, especially when it comes to talking to a beautiful woman. I like get open my mouth and say, you know, the words just wouldn't come out. But when I got the nerve up to let her know I liked her, I get my boy Tony, her cousin, to take me up to her house, a block up, but she was never home. Her sister was always there,
Okay.
Sister Debbie. And I would tell Debbie, well, tell Sharon I came by, you know, and I'd like to talk to her. And found out, well, so 46 years later, Debbie never told her, but Debbie liked me. I was liking her.
Oh
Yeah.
Well,
So,
in all fairness, I was very wild back then. I was hardly ever home, so Debbie probably never had a chance to tell me. So I'll fess up to that.
no. That sisterhood. We're gonna stick together.
yeah, oh yeah. But anyhow, fast forward, I moved to Atlanta in 1986. I found out in 2004 that she had moved to Atlanta. So that was 94, wasn't it?
2004.
2004. She had moved to Atlanta. So I called back to Philly to see if someone had her number where I could contact her down here, and got a hold of my boy's father, uh, um, Chops. And he didn't have her number, but he said he would give her dad and get her number for me. Well, he never did. He never got back to me with the number. And so time went on, I forgot all about it, and I got into other things or what have you. And then in 2009, when I was on the road trucking, I got on, I got my first laptop, and in the truck, got on a computer, and I found her on Facebook. And her being a writer or whatever, she used to write a lot of poetry on Facebook, or whatever. So I started, you know, looking at her, reading her Facebook posts and all that, and then seeing pictures of, you know, her. But then I saw she got married. And I was like, doggone it. You know, another time went by. So then, what was this? 90? No.
2000, 2015
Yeah,
when we went to the thing.
in 2015, we ran across each other in Philadelphia at one of our high school functions. And so I belonged to a club that we formulated back in high school called the Men of 73. And every year in Philly, they have what they call West Fest, where the alumni and all the classes get together out in Fairmount Park and have a big old one-day picnic. So the Men of 73, we decided to start throwing a cabaret that same weekend, so we could raise money for scholarships for the football team and for a couple students in the school. And the first cabaret we did, I went to, and she came in there. But now I'm married.
Two ships passing,
Yeah.
missing each other.
But when she walked in, I saw her. I said, Sharon. And I brought her over, introduced her to my wife, and you know, da 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 da. She didn't even realize who I was.
I remember.
She didn't remember me, but I remembered her. So anyhow, we had a good time that night. We caught up on a lot of things, whatever. Then she started remembering and realizing who I was. You know, Tony's best friend, whatever. Her cousin's best friend, da da da. And then she kind of remembered me back from high school. You know, and then things started falling in place as far as memory is concerned. And then about a year later, she sent me a message on Facebook because we still didn't have each other's phone numbers or anything like that. She sent me a message on Facebook concerning one of our high school friends that kind of dropped off the face of the earth. Okay, we were talking about Linda.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her I hadn't heard anything, but I didn't know somebody who I could contact to find out. So I called my boy in Philadelphia who knows and keeps up with everybody. And he's keeps up with what is going on with everybody's health, everybody's well-being. You know, I mean, he's our communicator, whatever. So he said he didn't know anything about it, but he'll find out. And he got back to me and gave me Linda's number. So then I contacted her and gave her Linda's number and got her number, and then we started talking on the phone. And over a course of what, 2 years?
A year.
A year. We became very good friends. Okay. And because I was still married, or whatever, one of the things I put out there, because I had feelings for this woman, like I said, I fell in love with her back in high school at 16 years old. All right. But I let her know that we're getting very close and we become very good friends, but I would never, ever leave my wife, to be with you, no matter how much I might want to, whatever, because that would never work.
No, but I want you
to. Right. Plus, she wasn't looking for no relationship at that time either, because of her, ex-marriage or whatever. But we became very good friends, over the course of time or whatever. And then when my ex-wife did something that, I don't want to go in that story, but that's a whole different, abusive type of story. Okay. And some people don't believe that men get abused. They always say that we're the abusers, but we get abused also, And I dealt with that with my ex-wife for several years or whatever, until she did something where I'm like, you know what, I'm done. I can't do this no more. All right. Yeah, I'm done. So about a week later, I called her and told her, look, I told you that if anything ever happened to my marriage, I'm coming after you. And when I decided to divorce my ex-wife over in Alabama, I called and let her know. And I said, what you doing for Christmas? And she said, well, I'm coming to Atlanta for Christmas. I said, when and where? And she told me where she was going to be at. I said, okay, I'll be there. Because what I got to say to you, I want to be able to see you eyeball to eyeball, not over the phone. There's not no telephone conversation. All right. So when I came over to Atlanta and met her at her hotel, and I was waiting in the lobby for her, and when she came down, off the elevator, and our eyes connected, bam, that's all she wrote. That was history.
I'm just.
But there's also a portion of it that when I first moved to Atlanta, and I was praying, asking God for a mate, and I said, I want someone from around the way, someone where I grew up. And I remember telling the Lord, I said, it's kind of strange. I move all the way down here, and I tell you, I want somebody from around the way, not knowing that He was trying to get in touch with me then, not even knowing that, And I had been thinking about my cousin Carol, who he called for my number. And I just felt like I should call him, and I kept putting it off and putting it off. And I never called him, and we figured out that was around the same time he was trying to reach me, that I felt like I should contact my cousin Carol.
Oh my
I know. And then, like we were saying, I wasn't ready for a relationship. My ex-husband decided he didn't want to be married anymore. He just left, and I was so devastated that I said I'll never open up my heart to anybody again, ever. And then that's the way, even when we were talking, I was, telling him about that. I just don't want to be married. I don't want to, be vulnerable like that again, But God began working in my heart. It was very slow and very subtle, that God began working in my heart, opened up my heart again.
So, I broke her down.
I want to jump in here on a couple of things right here. I mean, really, this is just like, it's just touching my heart. This is such an amazing, incredible love story. And when I reached out, to have you come on to the podcast, I had no idea what an incredible, how this is like our topic is real love. And, and it's couples love language. And I love a couple of the points that you brought out, which is like what I'm finding as I'm talking with successful couples, that it is a set ingredients that you have. I don't think that there's a magic bullet or pill or any of that, but there's success principles to the relationship part. And I think one of the reasons that you all are such a blessed couple is because of the integrity. And I know you already know this, but I want to emphasize that with our viewing audience. It's the integrity. And you talked about the friendship, and you talked about God's work. Those are the successful principles that are not changing from I mean, who, it doesn't matter if I'm talking with somebody that's been together for 30 something odd years to some,
Mhm.
that's been together for three. Those are some of the key ingredients. So I just want
Right,
Right,
to emphasize
right.
that. And
definitely.
and
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about, and I'm glad, Mr. Floyd, that you talked about the abuse in men as well, because as
Mhm.
we continue to go further, we're launching an episode about brokenness. And so this is a great, kind of a great leadway into that, because initially my charge was to eradicate domestic violence, but it was more so geared towards the help for the female, even though I'm aware that the abuse does take place for the men. But it's changed to being a advocate for, helping people to overcome brokenness. So I
Right,
thank you
Mhm.
for
right,
expressing that.
right.
But
Mhm.
let's get back to the love story. This is
Okay, okay.
incredible.
Well, once we did get together, what have you, and we, go back over time and reminisce about, what could have been, what could have, should have been. But then one thing we realized that, I got two wonderful sons from my ex-wife here in Georgia. Okay, right. My boys Trey and Trevor. And I said, now, if we had got together, in our late teens, early 20s, what have you, those two sons wouldn't be here, right? And it took us 46 years for this to come together. 46 years,
Mhm.
all right? But I thank God that it finally came together. But we also realized that, we were different people back then.
Mhm.
So even though we are who we are now, and God has brought us to the point that He's brought us to now, even though we have the love we have for each other now, and I had the love for her way back then, being that we were different people back then, we don't know whether we would have made it this far.
Right,
That's an
right.
excellent point.
Mhm.
That's truly excellent point, because I've heard that, as you grow and as you go, like you had said, Miss Floyd Sharon, you said that you were different back then, and you were, you said
Wow.
out
Mhm.
and wild and happy. So,
I
and
was wild too.
our experiences develop us into, the mature masterpiece that
Mhm.
God has now created. So,
Hmm.
this is
Mhm.
wonderful. I usually have questions. I don't have any questions for
Well,
you.
what you were saying, even with that, even as a Christian, even after I became a Christian, God had a lot of things He had to work out in me. I mean, we all have issues. We don't get saved and then become these perfect people. It's a process, And there were a lot of things about me, and I tell him, I said if we had gotten together, even you know, s- some years before, maybe as much as 5 years before, I said you may not like the person I was because God worked some things out of me, and I had a lot of issues with being very trying to be controlling or trying to be judgmental and critical, and God had to work those things out on me, and He took me to a place of brokenness where He showed me myself, because I had at that point, I had like two failed marriages, and I'm like, well, what's the common denominator here? I said, I'm the one that's the common denominator. Although they did things, there were things about me that caused me to get into those relationships. That
Mm,
even when God tried to show me beforehand some things, I closed my eyes and I didn't want to take a look at it. And because I just was so in love, or I was lonely and just wanted to be in a relationship,
And
and
he tried to tell her to wait. I was right around the corner.
yeah.
you know how we are. You know how we are. We
I
wait,
was right around the
I got
corner.
this.
Right around the corner. She just couldn't wait for me to turn the corner.
But the
And
blessing is
so
in the maturity right now. It's in
that's
the
it.
Right,
it's in
That's
the
right,
it.
fine wine and the
right.
aged cheese.
That's
You know what I'm
it.
saying? It's like it gets better with time. So
Yes, indeed.
Exactly,
Yes, indeed.
exactly.
yes.
So by the
Indeed.
time he was in my life, I think in my personality, I was able to not be so rigid in my expectations of people, because when you're so rigid or you want people to act a certain way or behave a certain way, that destroys a lot of relationships. We want to try to mold the person who we want them to be. You got to learn to grow and accept the person as they are. And I was better able to do that. And so by the time we got together, I was pretty much a different person. And as I look back over my life, a lot of change, and I thought, you know what, the person I am now, I could appreciate, the person he is. And then again, bring God in the mix. I really asked God, is this the one? I had a serious talk with God about him. Whereas before I was just gave into the emotion of the love, just decided, well, we'll make it work. I see all these red flags, but we'll make it work. And you can't do that. So you really have to be willing to see God, because He's the one that makes the partnership complete. And without Him, I mean, He can always work, miracles out of mess. He can always do that. But if you're, I say to anybody that's looking for love, get yourself right first, and then bring God into the mix. Allow Him to lead you. Don't let your emotions lead you. And that's where I made my mistakes, and that my emotions lead me into relationships. And relationships at the time I wasn't even ready for and didn't know it. So God can prepare you for your mate if you're willing to seek Him, and really be willing to be honest about yourself, and be willing to look in the mirror and change, and be willing to change. And He can bring that mate to you that's perfect for you. And he is perfect for me. I'm not saying He's perfect. He's perfect for me. And so He helps me.
Wow. Excuse me, public announcement, Mr. Floyd. We're coming for Miss Floyd. We need her on the women's panel. She speaks with great wisdom. And what popped in my head, sir, is that he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor.
That makes us work so well, or what have you. She knows that I like to mess with her.
Yes.
And at first it kind of bothered her, what I mean? But then she realized, well, this is who I am, and what have you. That don't mean no harm or not. But now, instead of getting upset, we can laugh together, have joy together, whatever.
Yes.
And the way that I mess with it, like just now, we laugh a lot. And during this pandemic last year, last year in January, I had back surgery, and I was down for the count for about a couple months. And I had to depend on this woman to do everything for me, including in the bathroom. And I realized then, I said, this woman really loves me, because who else would do that for you if they didn't love you? As much as they say, people say, action speaks louder than words. Somebody could tell you, I love you, I love you, I love you 1,000 times a day, but what are they doing to show their love for you? And what she showed me during the time I was down, I could do nothing for myself. I mean, nothing. She had to do everything for a couple months for me. And that showed me the love that she had for me. And I really appreciated that, But during this pandemic, and then shortly after my surgery, I came home in February, and the occupational therapist, physical therapist would come by several times a week, have me doing my things, whatever. But then in March, when they started the pandemic announcements and did the quarantine, whatever, we were like, well, we already quarantined, so it don't bother us, But
Right.
months into it, and then in July, she had breast cancer surgery. So now, I'm well enough now. I had to take care of her for about a month.
Yeah.
Okay. But we used to have fun, talking to people. They said, well, how y'all made it out during the pandemic? So we're doing great, but we've been quarantined all year. But the thing is, that was, that I looked at as being important. And then you hear about so many people, because of the quarantine, and have been home with each other 24/7 and causing divorces and separations and splits, whatever, right? I said, it's one thing to love somebody, but to me, it's more important to like them. And we like each other, and we like spending time with each other. So that showed me during that time, whatever, that if we didn't like each other, or we with all being bottled up in the house 24/7, I can see why so many people are divorcing or breaking up, whatever, because they don't like each other.
They were just using the busyness of life to escape the issues in a marriage.
Right.
Instead of really, taking time to sit down and say, hey, we need to take a look at this. It's not working, or we have these issues.
Or why
they were in a rut, just escaping. And that's what happened during the pandemic. Now they were forced to be in each other's company for so long. There was no escape.
I don't like you.
Yeah.
I don't like you either.
It's sad. It's really sad that it happened that way. But that's another reason why it's so important to every marriage to do checkups every now and then.
I'm telling you, I always tell our people, I said, make sure that you have a pen and a piece of paper, because the nuggets that are dropped, I mean, I've filled up a sheet of paper. I'll take it.
Praise God. God bless you.
I'm going to execute on some of these things when it's my turn. But this is wonderful. So let me ask you, how do you handle conflict or when you just don't agree with each other? How do you handle that?
You're the first one.
Yeah, I go first. What we tend to do is when we have conflict, if one is really upset, they wait till they calm down. We don't just start, I'm not saying we're perfectly doing this, but our plan is calm down and then let's sit down, let's talk about it, when the emotions are not that raw. Because when you're upset, you might say things you don't mean, in the heat of the moment. And so, I remember my sister, she passed away. She told me one thing about marriage is never say what you don't mean because you can't take it back. So when you're
Mm,
upset and you're angry and you just say something, you lash out to hurt the person, you can't take that back. And unfortunately, we'll say, I didn't mean it, but usually there's some element of truth in some of the things that you say that really hit somebody, maybe a certain sore point in their life or hurt or, hurt they've had. And so we make a point to sit down and talk about it and just listen to each other openly. Not, a lot of times people sit down, like, we talk and we're like, wait to say my say, okay, finish up saying what you're saying. I want you to hear what my side, but rather than really listening to the other person, and hearing what they say and try to put yourself in their place too. Instead of trying to defend ourselves or make excuses for behavior, being willing to say, well, maybe I need to check that out. Maybe I need to work on that. And so that's helped us out tremendously in conflict.
And you know something, Dr. Liz, I'm glad you asked that question because we've never really talked about that, and what she just said is something I had to learn over the years. I learned a long time ago that, when like, especially somebody I care about or love, if you make me mad, I get quiet. I shut up. I've learned how to do that because years ago I had a very, very quick temper and I can have a very sharp tongue. And I know how to cut you up one side and down the other with my tongue. And I learned that, what God says, you have power of life and death in your tongue,
mm-hmm.
And use it wisely. So when you get angry, and I've learned this about myself, when I get angry, I'll open up and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, ooh. And like she just said, well, let me back up here. When we were kids, and we all heard this, and I know it, all across the country, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie.
Yes, it is.
That's a lie. That's not the truth. Because sticks and stones, you can get hurt, but that'll heal. But words, once they come out your mouth, you can't, like you said, you can't take them back. So you got to be careful of how you talk to someone when you're angry, because when you're angry, not necessarily you're saying things to hurt someone intentionally, but you are, because you want to lash out at them and get them off of you, so to speak. So you say things out of anger that you might not really mean, but you said it. And once you said it, you can't take them words back. Once these ears hear what you just said, and so that was the problem, issue with my ex-wife or whatever. She was and she was an evangelist. But when she get angry and start coming at me, whatever, with all these words, I mean, very hurtful words that is hit down to the marrow of the bones or whatever, and then when apologized to me an hour later, so I didn't mean that. But you said it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you didn't mean it, you shouldn't have said it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and just like when we're children, you have kids that will say hurtful things to you, or your parents might say hurtful things to you, whatever. And a lot of things that she would come at me with, whatever, reminded me of my childhood days that I had to overcome those angers and those hurts from whatever. That when she would start lashing out, with those words, whatever, it brought me back to my childhood days when I used to feel hurt and pain from the things that were said to me.
Mm-hmm.
So words are very powerful. So that's why I had to learn myself that when I get angry, I shut up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shutting up because I'm trying to avoid talking to you, because communication is very important. And like you said, I'm not going to talk to you while I'm mad or angry, but let me calm down and we will discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever situation may be, we're going to discuss it, but not while I'm mad.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
But let me get here too. And now that's like a bonus. How do you what is the key to longevity? I mean, I guess it would be a summation of everything that you've said. There's not like one key point. So,
Right.
I'll throw the ball into your court. What do you think I mean, I hate even asking this question because you've already answered it. But if you can add something to it, it's like, you know how you have that, like my mom used to make 7-Up pound cakes, and you know, she make the 7-Up pound cake, and then people would say, you know, they want a glaze or something. I'm like, you don't need it because
Right.
the
All right.
cake is already
It's
there. You
perfect
all
as
are,
it is.
you exemplify what it takes for longevity, you know. And
Yeah,
you even look alike. I mean, to me, you do. You know, they
Right.
say, you know, you start when you really have that right couple together, that right mix together, and the spirits just mesh. You know, I can feel it through the screen here that, you
All
know,
right.
you all are genuine, and I think the sincerity, you know, the love it just shows. So what could you add to it? Don't mess up my pound cake. I don't need no sugar on my pound cake. Or
But you
seven
know,
up.
icing on it.
I was thinking, other than like open, honest communication, it has to be trust. Without trust,
Mhm.
and I won't say just trust, but you really have to continue to develop trust because it's easy to engage in little habits that can erode the trust in relationship. Maybe little white lie, just you want to escape an argument, so you'll give an answer that you think they want, and things like that will erode a relationship. Or maybe, saying, promise you're going to do something and keep, falling back on your promises. What can I trust you to do what you say you're going to do? Or, engage in behaviors that really, really are counterproductive to the relationship, and just nothing significant. It doesn't have to be the big things. It's the little foxes that spoil the vine, and it's those little things that get in the way. A pastor might have talked about a man who walked across the country, and he asked, what was the most difficult part of your trip? He said it was the little stones that kept getting in my shoe.
Oh,
It's those little things, those little irritations, and that's what really kills a marriage. Is those little irritations. They build up over a period of time. They erode the trust, in a relationship, and then the relationship, before you know it, you're going further and further apart to avoid. Human nature was to avoid conflict. So human nature is going to do everything it can to avoid conflict. But in a marriage, you have to work at it. It's not something like, you go to a job, you have a certain career, you want to excel, you do all you can, you get your training, you show up, you show up, you show up. But marriages, you want a good marriage, you got to show up. A lot of times we check out because of the irritations, because the conflicts that are unresolved. We don't show up, and we're not willing to put in the work. And a lot of times work sounds dreary, but work is powerful because work is,
Mhm.
is dynamic. It does something to you. It makes you a better person. It makes the marriage stronger, and you reap the rewards of that. So I say, that really, those little things, don't let them destroy your marriage. Work at your marriage every day. How can I show love to my husband in a different way, or my wife in a different way? What can I do to meet a need of theirs instead of getting caught up in our own worlds, which we do. You get busy, and you have to it has to be done with intention. You have to have intention to, decide I'm going to make my marriage better. Even if it's a good marriage, you can always work on it. It can always become better. Even us, the things I see him working on, I'm sure he sees me working on to try to make our marriage better, to try to make each other happier. But it's a process and it requires work.
wow, this is incredible. Mr. Floyd, I keep going back to this scripture that says, "He that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord."
Amen.
You found your good thing.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen. Took 26 years to find it, but I
I
found
gotta say.
it. And
Wow.
trying to go behind what she just said, what have you. I mean, it's difficult. Although, she knows that with me, and we discussed this, when we used to talk on the phone when I was on the road driving trucks, what have you. We talk on the phone that trust and communication was something that's very important to me. And communication is missing in a lot of people's relationships, you know. But you have to be able to talk to one another in order to understand one another. How can I understand you if we don't communicate with one another, or you tell me some things that you dislike or like or whatever, if I'm doing something that you don't care for, and if you don't say nothing to me about it, then I may continue doing it without realizing that you don't like it. And then all of a sudden you're upset because I done did something you don't like, and I had no idea. Or same with me. You do something that I don't like and I don't say nothing to you about it, you're gonna continue doing it. So communication, you have to communicate with one another, whatever. And that's where um, I realized and believe that, it's best to become friends before you become lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Friendship, friendship, it means a lot.
Yeah.
And we became best friends.
Yeah. And I think
And
that's
she's
the
still my
difference.
best friend.
Yeah, between me and my other my exes, that we weren't really friends. And with him, we developed a friendship. Unknowing to me that it would evolve into a relationship, but that friendship that evolved is a great foundation for everything that comes in marriage. So.
Wow, I think she just dropped the mic on us.
Ah.
I think, I think, Mr. Floyd, I think you passed the mic to her, and I think she just dropped it. So that's that
That's
team.
all right. We're a team. Teamwork.
That's that
Teamwork.
teamwork working together.
Hey, as my brother Cecil always say, team make the dream work. Right?
Absolutely does. I have had such a phenomenal time speaking with you all today, this morning. I definitely am going to reach back out and grab you again because we need to know this. I think these are the principles that have not been taught. If we all knew exactly what you're telling us in all of these bullet points that I've made here, I think I definitely, I know the divorce rate wouldn't be as high as it is right now. So, I
Well,
just,
something, I just want to drop this one last thing with her because my mother and father have been married 65 years.
wow.
It will be 66 in June. But they've been together, gosh, longer than that. They've known each other. They grew up right across the street from one another.
Wow.
So they were childhood friends. And my mother said when she first moved on the block across the street from my father, said when she first laid eyes on him as a child, 8 years old, she said, "That could be my husband."
Wow. Look at that.
And here they are 65 years later, together still in their 80s. But they've been together since what, 15, 16?
Yeah.
Got
You said
married at
something
18.
though. You said something so key too. You said the same thing. You said you fell in love in high school.
Right.
Your journey to get there, your journey to get here, is also a remarkable, amazing story.
Right.
But just, again, I applaud you for, behind me it says let's celebrate. We've just been celebrating victories all for the month of February,
Right.
and so, I celebrate the both of you and congratulations on the job well done. And thank you for being an example to us and letting us know that real love is absolutely possible.
Thank you.
So I thank both of you. Oh, this is so special. So there you have it, you all. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Stay fearless and know that real love is possible. We'll see you all next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, did it stop?